opportunity to introduce ourselves to all of the wonderful folks here. This is such a special occasion as we honor the work of labor, as we work with working families, make sure that we are committed to the work ahead for us. I am Ghazala Hashmi, and I'm honored to be your Democratic nominee for Lieutenant Governor. You know, before I decided to run for politics, and I've been in the Virginia Senate now for 6 years, but before I decided to run for politics, I spent 30 years in the college classroom, and you know, I was a mild-mannered English teacher. I really loved the work I was doing. I was working with so many students from all across Virginia, with our veterans, our returning citizens, so many of our first-generation students. I taught at the community college in Richmond, and in front of me in my classroom every day, I had the entire community. And what that taught me over those decades of teaching in the community college is that we have a responsibility to make sure we are serving the citizens of Virginia. So many of my students were struggling. You know, we had returning veterans who came back with serious needs to get retrained, to find a job, to find good work, and we were creating obstacles in the way that we structured our education system, creating barriers for their opportunity to get the kind of degrees and credentials they needed so that they could support their families. I watched my students struggle for housing. I had students who would lose their housing in the middle of a semester. That meant that they had to drop out and they had to focus on doing the work to support their families. I had students who went hungry in the middle of a semester, who came by my office sometimes and just asked me if I had some snacks to share. Virginia, we can do better. We have a responsibility to serve our communities. So I have been in the Virginia Senate now for 6 years, and those 6 years have taught me exactly what we need to focus on, the priorities and the policy work we need to do. I am ready to be the president of the Senate. I have spent these 6 years fighting for health care, fighting for equitable education for every child in Virginia, fighting for working families so that we know that we have a capacity to be the best in the nation. We have a responsibility for our rural communities, especially now we're seeing the crisis come as we lose Medicaid. We're going to see the destruction of our rural hospitals. We are seeing an impact on our local farmers. We are going to see so many issues that we have a responsibility at the state level to respond to. This is what we're going to do with Governor Spanberger, Attorney General Jay Jones, and myself as Lieutenant Governor. And I just want to remind everybody that I am still a mild-mannered English teacher. And one thing I know as a professor of American literature, I know that we have a critical responsibility to uphold the values of our Constitution, to uphold those founding texts that defined who and what we are as a country. And I want to remind everybody that the most important word in our American English language is actually the first word of our American Constitution, and it is